I'm Susan, and I'm going to help you through some of the words this morning, the different segments of the service. We have Amy and Barry, who are fabulous this morning, right?
Almost. Oh, I'm going to my singing voice back, but that's, oh, skip, I get it.
And it looks like Debbie in the back on the AV again.
She's a good sport.
She is.
And she's doing the special today.
Oh my goodness, that's an
Original.
So peace be upon you, and let us begin.
Yes, we're going to go ahead and stand and open up our service with My Soul is Welcome Here, Daniel David song. It's a fun song, but I'll guide you through if you don't know it. I'll repeat this one twice. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Just feel I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Take a deep breath, say good morning to your fellow neighbors, shake the hand, namaste, how you doing?
Morning, Mom. How you doing? Very good. You? Good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
She's intense.
We must together in unity and love. We must together. We must together in love.
I would like to mention that our own Reverend Carol will be speaking in a little bit. She'll come up and give us a meditation first if you choose to participate in that. And I think your topic you said was, what is mine to do? Something like that, okay. And I thought about it when I saw that. I watched that concert thing that was on television last Sunday with John Legend playing the part of
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ Superstar. One tiny little line in there just caught my attention, besides the whole story. But it was the disciples after the Last Supper. And Jesus was saying, well, I still have this big thing to do. I have to go and be arrested and caught and crucified and rise again. And they said, oh, forget it, let's just retire and write the Gospels. And they sang away, let's just retire and write the Gospels. Right. So I feel like today we're finding out, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Is it write the Gospels? Is it to be a practical Christian? Is it to be part of this group, this congregation? Carol's going to tell us what she thinks is hers to do. What is all of ours to do? So let us affirm our opening statement with that thought in mind.
There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God.
And also along those lines, we light the Christ candle, which reminds us about the light within us, the Christ light within us that shines out into the world and shows how to live, how to be a Christ figure in this world. And we thank God for this place to come together and talk about this, share this with others. We do have a vision and a mission statement that we developed together. And it says, we centered in
God, we inspire spiritual transformation, creating a world of love, peace, and prosperity. We are an inclusive spiritual community, inspiring, awakening, and serving in love.
And we also bless the children. We all have a child within us that stays with us forever. And we do have an actual child in the back there. A very short person. But she is adorable, and we want to give you a blessing, my dear. Let us say our children's blessing together.
We love you. We bless you. We behold the Christ in you. We accept you just the way you are. Walk in beauty. You are divine.
We're going to go ahead and stand and sing another song. We haven't done this in a little while. Too bad Lucy's not here. She loves it. All God's children critters got a place in the choir. I'll tell you, I've been surrounded by them all in a little bit this week. Mules and goats and dogs. Couldn't get the people. Ready? All right, here we go. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Take a breath, you ready? Listen to the faces of one on the bottom and the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and drums with a big tune, and the old cow just goes new. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle while the honeybee hums in the cricket's fiddle. The donkey rays and the pony and the old coyote howl. Deep breath. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Breath. Here we go, ready? Listen to the top where the little birds sing on the melody with a high note swinging. The blue cow hollers over everything, and the jaybird disagrees. Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day. The little duck quacks and he's on his way. The possum ain't got much to say, and the porcupine talks to himself. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. All God's critters got a place in
our prayer process by bringing the prayer box forward. Put our blessings upon it.
This is our prayer box. It sits back there underneath that painting. So it's easily accessible before and after the service for you to write down a prayer on a prayer slip and place it in here. And let us pray. Spirit within, who moves among us and within us. We know you have heard our prayers before we even write them down. But as we write down our prayers in here and send them on to Unity Village where they're prayed over for about 30 days at Silent Unity, we know you hear them and we give thanks. With gratitude we say, Amen.
And with that prayer, all of our prayers in mind, could we move to the daily word and hear what is our word for today? What's our scripture for today?
I am always comfortable in the midst of the day's pressures and challenges. My life is often filled with schedules and obligations that cause me to feel anxious and stressed. When I feel overwhelmed, I take time to realize that what I'm really feeling is the energy of the world around me. I can always choose to stay comfortable in the midst of pressure. I know without question that there is one presence and one power active in the world and in my life. When I am feeling out of alignment with that truth, I center myself in the energy of my heart and find the comfort of spirit that is always present. I feel that comfort radiating in every cell of my body, every thought in my mind. I am a perfect expression of the presence of the divine. It is the Lord that goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Deuteronomy 31:8. The word for today is comfort.
Thank you, Paul. And let us keep our hearts open as we pray together the prayer that Jesus taught his disciples. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Amen.
Let us move deeper into that place of connection with that divine essence, the I am. Remembering when Moses asked the burning bush, "Who shall I say sent me?" And the voice said, "I am. I am." Remembering that divine power that we all have within us. Taking some deep breaths. Letting go. Letting go of all of our personal thoughts, ideas at this moment. Just allowing them to relax. When we speak prayers, we're speaking words that we want that divine to be aware of. But when we move into that place of quietness, we are willing to listen. Listen to the words of love. You are loved unconditionally. You are the child of divine spirit. Oh, the love and intelligence that is this divine energy is also you. Breathe into that. I am love. I am love. I am joy. Allow that energy. I am joy. Feel that energy floating from within, radiating through any anything that is in your thoughts and feelings at this moment. I am joy. I am wholeness. I am wholeness. That is the truth of my being. The body may be experiencing something that feels less than that, but the truth of me, that divine spirit in me, is wholeness. And breathe deeply again, moving even deeper. Deeper into that place of connection. Moving into the silence. Asking your thoughts to slow down. Letting them just float. As we move in the silence. In the silence. Gently bring yourself just to the edge of that silence, just to the edge where you're remembering you're knowing, you are knowing that power. And allow any challenges that are yours in this moment. Challenges that may be for people that you care about. Just allow that thought. Presenting it to this divine love and intelligence. Knowing that divine order is here and now manifest as we let go of our own solutions. And in this process, what may be ours to do becomes more clear. And we open to our larger concerns within our community, within our nation, within our world. Allowing that divine intelligence, allowing that divine love, allowing peace and joy. As we breathe in that Ami and God energy, we are transforming that energy and sending it out with peace and love and joy and divine order. Divine order. Not my will, but the will of this divine knowledge and understanding, the will of Spirit. And again, we expand and include all those creatures that we were singing about. All God's creatures. All God's creatures. Let us become aware that there may be some that we're not embracing, we're not accepting, we're not allowing. All God's creatures in this moment, just in this moment, we are willing to allow that divine love to flow through us and in us and as us to all the world. And we say thank you. thank you, and so it is. Amen. All God's creatures, yes. Good to be reminded of that sometimes. Maybe more often sometimes than what we are. So what is mine to do? So Debbie Preece has responsibility for my thinking because she's going to be singing us a special, and I was looking around for something that may be compatible with the words of her song. So not the same as, but fitting in that process. So as I was looking for a theme, okay, how does this fit? And so on Monday I opened the Daily Word, I get it online, and the word for the day was compassion. Compassion. We are all unique expressions of God, and that just seemed to really radiate through me as one of the things that we need more of as individuals, as community, that idea of compassion and understanding this uniqueness. So one of the great commandments taught by Jesus is to love thy neighbor as thyself. And you know, one of the most powerful stories is, who's your neighbor? It is that person that everybody else is ignoring and walking past, and maybe feeling like, well, I'm ignoring that person because that person might be dangerous. Who is our neighbor? So to be asking ourselves, who is my neighbor? Am I noticing? When I practice compassion, I accept others exactly as they are. Now think about that. I accept others exactly like they are. Let's notice when we're not in that place. I honor and respect all people, women, children, men, as expressions of God. In the narrative of Genesis, God created the world and everything upon it. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed it all. I see all beings. Now, I know in the writing it says all people, but all beings as unique expressions of the divine. Unity Minister Eric Butterworth often used the analogy of God as the ocean and humanity as individual waves. Each person has his or her own personality, passions, aversions, temperaments, physical capabilities, and attributes. But like waves on the ocean, there is no place where God stops and we begin. Ever since I first heard that many years ago, I love that process. We're waves in the ocean. Yes, we have our uniqueness, but we are all always connected to the divine. So there's this really cute little video that I've been seeing on Facebook, and I thought, ooh, I think this kind of fits with this idea also. So it begins with the guy and his dog, and they're coming down, they're getting into the boat, they're going out fishing, and so they're out in the middle of this lake, and the guy has got his back and he's fishing, and so here's the bait can sitting behind him where he can't see it, but the dog can see the bait can. And here comes this heron, and the heron comes and reaches down and grabs a worm out of the bait can, and the dog just kind of goes nuts, growling and barking. Well, the man can't see the bird, and all he hears is the dog barking, so he turns around, the bird's now long gone, and gets all upset at the dog, because the dog is making noise. You can't have noise when you're out there fishing. Well, this goes on 2 or 3 times, and every time the dog reacts, and the man reacts at the dog, and finally, the man turns around just as he's beginning to hear the noise, and he sees the bird. Oh, so what he's thinking, he's blaming the dog for making noise and disturbing him, and he realizes, no, the dog is doing his job. The dog is trying to protect what he needs to go fishing. So, since a man sees the bird, it's a big bird, a heron, and so he gets out his oars and they paddle along, and they follow the bird to the shore, and when they get there, what they find is a nest full of babies. And what the bird is doing is taking that bait and feeding the babies. Oh, now guess what happens? Here's another shift. And the man reaches in and grabs a whole handful of the worms and hands them to the bird and feeds the babies, and then he paddles the boat back out. Everybody's going, think about the shift and what was going on in this energy. So now they're back out to the middle, and here comes the bird again. Only this time, the bird flies over the boat and opens its beak and dumps a whole bunch of fish in the boat. So we see this whole process in this little, I don't know, less than 5-minute video, probably 2 or 3 minute video, how as we begin to understand why something is happening, our approach to it totally shifts in this process. So, what is the opposite of compassion? What is the opposite of compassion? What about critical judgment? What about, when we are judging something's good or bad? Judgment is one of those words that we have lots of different meaning. Well, if I don't use good judgment, blah, 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 so we need to really think about that. But here from the letter of Paul to the Romans, he says, therefore let us stop passing judgment on one another. Oh, nobody in church does that. Nobody ever passes judgment on each other in church. Instead, make up your mind not to put any stumbling block or obstacle in the way of a brother or sister. And when we think of humanity, we're all brothers and sisters. And how do we often put stumbling blocks out there by our attitude, our approach? So we think about this, the necessity to use good judgment, but maybe as we think about it, we can use some different terminology, use different words. So, last Sunday we were reminded of what our 12 powers are and that they work together. So the idea of understanding and wisdom, we're using that. How about the word discernment? I try and use that a lot. The word discernment. That means I'm looking out there and I'm making some decisions. Is this good for me or bad for me or whatever? But I'm not judging. I'm not saying that's good, that's bad. Because what you're doing, I don't know where you're coming from. When you think about our everyday processes of when somebody gets in our way, somebody cuts us off, all of that kind of process, if we really knew what was behind that, maybe it's just something that somebody is so involved in what they're planning to do at work today that they're just not even paying any attention. They're not deliberately trying to get us all upset. If we use some discernment in how we're going to choose to approach those kinds of things, and we can spread that out. And usually it's the little things. Big things tend to get our attention, and we spend a little bit more time paying attention to that process. But our everyday kinds of things. What happens when you get in line and it was moving pretty quickly through the cashier, and then all of a sudden, here's somebody, and whatever it is, it's taking forever, and what goes on in you, and who are we saying is the bad guy? Is it the person that's trying to buy something? Is it the cashier who's not, we get in that place. We go down that rabbit hole of judgment. So start beginning to pay attention. And we've really had some interesting stories. We personally have had one because Galia has been just really generous in sharing her experience of being in a place of judgment when she was someplace where she was having a really good time at a parade. And she caught herself looking at people and going, what were they thinking? And she became aware of what that was doing to her. First of all, and I think this is something a lot of us do not become aware of, there was a physical feeling that she described to us. She began not feeling good. It was uncomfortable within her. And then it was just totally destroying her ability to have fun at the parade. So begin to pay attention, not to beat yourself up when you catch yourself, but to be aware what is going on. And of course, when I'm in that place of judgment, it doesn't do anything for the other person. They have no idea what I'm thinking, and it's certainly not going to change them if I was so rash as to say, you need to quit that smoking stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah, so glad you told me, but to become aware of what's going on. And then, so we have Wednesday night class, and one of the class members has been coming for, over 13 years now. She doesn't come on Sunday morning, but she religiously comes to Wednesday night class. And a couple of weeks into Lent, she began sharing with us what she decided was her process for Lent. And I'm going to share her story because I think it is so important for us to hear our individual stories. Yes, it's important for me to share my personal experiences, and I certainly do that quite a lot up here. And I've heard people say it. I've heard some of you say it. Well, of course you can do it, Carol. You're the minister. So when we hear each other's stories of how something has actually worked and impacted in their life. So this class member began sharing a couple of weeks into Lent. And she began with, so I've got myself caught up here. Oh, okay. So I asked her as she was sharing this. So first of all, I was going to remember the story. And then I asked her at the end of Lent, as she had been telling us all these different things that are going on with, mentioned that again, and bless her heart, she sat down and she wrote it all out. So this is her process as she kind of observed herself in this process. So in the writing it out, she began by explaining that she has developed a mantra to avoid judging others, myself, situations I find myself in, my illness, my actions. And her mantra is, I prefer to be tolerant. Now, that's not how she began the process in Lent. She began that process at the end of Lent. Actually, she began that process and created this after last Wednesday as we were talking about this process and began talking about languaging. And you'll see why that became important as she tells her story. So here's a summary of my journey without judging. I gave up judging for Lent. It was hard not to think that way, to change the habits of my thinking. But the rewards, the benefits in my life were amazing. Like I said, she began sharing this process 2 weeks into the process. So it wasn't going through 6 weeks and beginning to have, she began talking about these benefits right from the beginning. By not dwelling on whether someone was right or wrong, bad or good, I saved so much mental activity of my mind. I look back on those 6 weeks and I'm still amazed at how much I got accomplished. I got more housework done, more paperwork done, more financial stuff done, more socializing, more yard work, more enjoying, more planning of my future, and more fulfillment. Kind of across the board by letting go of this judgment. By not thinking of the negative, I had more spiritual energy. As a consequence, I had more physical energy. I was more productive as a human. Not only was my mental activity freed up and my focus freed up, but my energy was not wasted on categorizing, determining what class something or someone was. I was able to let go of something that normally I would dwell on. I had less turmoil in my thoughts. By having less negative thoughts, I was able to have more positive thoughts. I was better able to use my organizational and planning skills. I had more vision on the steps in a project necessary to achieve an end goal in that project. Are you listening to the shift from letting go of one, quote, simple process? Whether housework or investing my finances for retirement, projects were more effortless. I think I was more in the now moment. When I started to judge, there was a monitor in my mind that said, okay now, remember, you're not supposed to judge for the 6 weeks of Lent. So, here's this process going on. Then I told myself, I can start back soon. This is only temporary. Let this go. Let this go for now. Resistance, yes, there was a voice in my head that said, I can't wait to judge after Easter. I'm so good at it. But that person is definitely wrong. This situation is not fair. Life is so unfair. Why bother at all? I know I am right about this. None of us recognize ourselves in this. Anyway, no. My ego resented the change. Then I found I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of playing judge and jury to someone or situation in my mind. There was a monitor in my brain that said, let it go. After all, what does it matter if a situation, person is right or wrong? What does it matter if I think someone, something is right or wrong? What matters is how I deal with it, how I adapt to it. So not what my judgment is about it, how I manage it in my own life and activity. The Italians have an expression, it is what it is. Here's the question, she asked. By not judging, condemning myself, was I able to appreciate myself more? And is that why it seems I got more accomplished? I don't know. But regardless, in my personal reality, I did accomplish more. And like I said, as she shared over the weeks, our personal reality, that's what we live in. If I have to choose between being right, better, superior, versus inner peace, happiness, contentment, then I choose happiness. We all have that choice. This whole business about judgment is about choice. You see how compassion and judgment are opposite sides of the same coin. Now, last week, David asked me a question. He said, as a minister, what gives you the most joy? Well, what I just read, what Leah has shared, what others have shared at different times, that's what gives me joy. Unity is about us having and seeing a difference in our own lives. Jesus said, I came that you have life and have it more abundantly. He didn't say, I came so that you can be miserable and when you die you'll go to heaven and have abundant life. He said, no, I came that you have it now, here, have it abundantly. So when people share those stories, and obviously what this person has shared, says, yes, my life was more abundant as I let go of one simple, maybe not so simple, thing. Letting go of judgment and catching herself. So in closing, again, Daily Word had two different things on compassion, different titles up there, but I thought, you know what? This whole idea of compassion really has an energy out there. Jesus called 12 to be his disciples, yet he mentored many more people. He taught in sayings and parables, and also in the way he lived his life. If he wasn't living it, I don't think people would have paid a lot of attention to what his teachings were. His compassion, his refusal to judge others, his constant reliance on prayer and connection with God, and his exhortation to forgive. And exhortation, I tried to think, that's not a word we use a lot. But you know what it means? It wasn't like he was just saying, this is a good idea. No, he was saying, you need to do this. This will make a difference. He was exhorting them. He was telling them. His exhortation to forgive. And isn't that also what we're talking about in the whole idea of compassion? Demonstrated a way of life that touched those around him. Jesus never set himself apart as special. He sought to teach each one to recognize and use the power within. Every day, we have opportunities to show compassion, to withhold judgment, and offer encouragement. And to bring a peaceful presence to a situation. And those few words, to bring a peaceful presence. So when I'm in a situation when people are getting all upset or maybe just somebody is upset about something that is going on with their life, can I bring that peaceful presence into the situation? Can I know I am a radiating center of that divine love? Can I support them with my peaceful presence? Christ's light shines through you and me and allows others to see a new light in themselves. And then this from James. I love this. Show me your faith apart from your works, your actions, your behavior. And I, by my works, my actions and behavior, will show you my faith. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I think that's a little fast. I can't. What? I think it's. All right, there we go. That's it. Okay. So we're just having fun this morning. We're just experimenting. Thank you. All right, here we go. La 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 That's way, y'all agree, right? Let's slow it down. Oh, breathe a little, shall we? Alright, let's start with the chorus. One little boy. Alright. One little boy in Africa, he put a face on AIDS. Told his story to the world till he died. And these are the words he said, do all you can with what you have and the time you have in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have and the time you have in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Holy Mother from India, helping the sick and the poor. Somebody asked, why do you do these things? She said, this is what I came here for. She said, do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. This is the gift they give to us to share wherever we go. Be the change you wish to see in this world. Now I understand what they wanted us to know. You can do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. Oh, I don't know. Do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. One little boy in Africa, do all you can. Deb come on up and do her original song. So proud of her. My little group.
Just a little background on this song. This is the second song that I've written. I never wrote any songs my whole life until last year. In the springtime, I wrote my first one, Never Too Late. And it was basically about how, no matter how old we are, you know, we still have a lot to give, talents to share with the world. And I discovered I had a song. So if you have something, if you feel like you have a song in your heart that you would like to share, I want to encourage you to come to the Acoustic Cafe this Friday, because that's a great opportunity to share your talents, whether singing or dancing or acting or poetry, and it's a lot of fun. So this song is kind of a, I don't have much of a voice, so this is going to be a little bit of a challenge because of allergies, but it's kind of a bluesy song, so it's okay. It's kind of a mini biography of my life, because when I was young, I didn't go to church. You know, I didn't believe in God. I was a hardcore atheist. But when I became about 15, it was kind of like I finally started to grow up and look at the world and realize the world was really kind of messed up. And you know, I grew up in Chicago in a bad neighborhood, and it was the 60s, and there were race riots, and there was fighting on the bus. I got to the point where I wouldn't even take the bus to go to school, even though it was Chicago and freezing cold. It was 2 miles, but there were fights on the bus, and I lived in this changing neighborhood, you know, with blacks and whites. And then my parents were divorced, and you know, my mother took off, moved to Maryland, so I was very confused, very lonely, and the world felt really meaningless. And I would see like homeless people on the street. It was just like, what's the purpose of life? And but then at one point when I was 20, I met a religious group, and the first time I actually started to have some experiences with God. So and that totally changed my life, totally changed the direction of my life. And so this song is about that and the most important things I've learned. I hope I don't cough during this song. So it's called Change the World. It's a blues song. So it kind of starts out kind of bluesy, you know, but then it actually ends on a positive note and a call to action. When I was younger, all alone and blue, it seemed the world was so messed up with nothing I could do. So much confusion in my heart, watching people fight and families torn apart. I saw people taking drugs to stop feeling, people making love with no meaning, homeless people lying in the street, and it was making me weep, cry, 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 cry. Then I met a man who changed my life. God has a plan to end all strife. children crying, too many people dying, too many gunshots firing in the dark, and it's breaking his heart. Yes, it's breaking God's heart. It's breaking his heart. I was no believer when I heard this news, but when I thought about the life I was living, I had to choose between giving up and living in despair, or making a difference around me and learning to care. Because politicians are lying, kids are taking drugs and dying, blacks and whites are fighting in the street. So we just can't sleep. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Everybody wake up. There is a reason that you were born, and it sure isn't just making money for more and more. So find your purpose and do your part. Make a difference with your life and follow your heart. Then we'll see people everywhere uniting and history rewriting. Hope all around, igniting the flames of love from heaven above. 'Cause it's all about love. Yes, it's all about love. It's all about love. Do something to change the world. Do something to change the world. Do something to change the world. You gotta do something to change the world now.
To understand, for those who don't know her as well, this child is painfully shy. I don't want to stand up here to speak to the people as a platform person, has blossomed and grown to an amazing inspiration for us all, don't you think? Definitely follow her dreams, and she's not afraid to use her talents. So yay for that.
Just turn it off, just turn it off, just turn it
Turn
off.
off the drums.
Just turn off the drums. That'll turn it off.
Now she's dancing to the beat of her own drummer.
It is.
We are blessed. We are so blessed, and we wish to share our blessings, and this is our prosperity moment. We need a couple of people to come up and carry these heavy baskets.
That will be heavier.
They are heavier. And let us say together, let us bless this into the universe. The inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. Abundance is here and now manifest. Amen. Amen.
All that I have is all that I give. I gratefully share as I gratefully live. All that I have is all that I give, and I share it abundantly now.
prayers on the blessing of this multitude.
Divine love,
Through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give,